with Time Princess, and we're gonna be doing genderswap Romeo and Juliet, which is also a weird sequel to that play that's in this game. And I'm doing like the sound test to see if we're just. Alright, so yeah, you can kind of hear the music and you can kind of hear my voice. Alright, there we are. May I have the honor of this dance, my lady? Who are you? All you have to do is be yourself, Lady Romy. The things you wanted to say but didn't finish, can you tell me, Romy? Don't leave me, I beg you. What's that noise? What's going on? Lady Ronnie, may I come in? The maid's here to wake me up. Come in, come in. The maid draws the curtain after greeting me, and sunlight floods the room, and I scramble to shield my eyes with my blanket. Your father's receiving guests upstairs, and it would be prudent to get out of bed and get ready, my lady. You have to wash and dress up anyway if he calls you for you later. He was furious when you arrived late before. I'm sorry, I'll get up now. I'll wait for you outside, and please call me if you require any assistance. The maid leaves, and I see Abby unwillingly, and I can hear the discussion downstairs through the gaps in the door. When will this farce end? I've been plagued by unexpected trouble since my coming-of-age ceremony 3 months ago. I thought I would have more freedom, but the one rose rules didn't lessen at all. And to make things worse, we've been getting honey-tongued visitors every day for the past 3 months. They all come with the same goal in mind, to ask my father for my hand in marriage. I had the responsibility of being the Montague family's eldest daughter, and I have been inculcated in me since I was a child. The time has arrived for this chains of responsibility to be wrapped around me, but I won't go down without a fight. The vacant expressions of the noble lady's forcing a smile surfaced in my mind. I attended some salons with my father, and the married woman's conduct was impeccable, but I could tell they weren't happy. They might live a life for luxury, but they were also doomed to spend the rest of their lives in sorrow, having been sacrificed by their families who forced them into strategically advantageous marriages. Despite being swamped with requests recently, father has never once forced me to receive any of my would-be suitors who come from prominent families. But out of consideration for one's interest, he has also never turned anyone down. How can I convince father to let me make this decision myself? I massage my aching temples, and my gaze lands on some lilies in a vase on the table. Their fragrance permeates the room. And I've been receiving many lilies from people claiming to be my admirers, and the maids joke that my room has become a greenhouse. It is a shame that I prefer the passion and exuberance of red roses over the purity of lilies. I go to the window where a vase is on the windowsill, and I carefully examine the single blooming rose inside. I asked a maid to help me buy it from the marketplace some time ago. The fiery red petals are vibrant under the rays of the summer sun. A red rose. I stare at it in a daze as I recall my dream last night. Take this, beautiful lady. This rose is a tribute to your courage. I received a beautiful red rose from a man wearing a mask in my dream, and I stared at him in a daze, and his eyes framed by the mask were like a bottomless depth of the sea. Unfortunately, the dream ends just as I reach out to him, and the fragrance of my memories scatter like rose petals, and there's a hint of sorrow at the end of the dream, but I don't know what it means. Lady Romy, forget it. I should wash up and get ready. I don't want to get the servants in trouble again. I pushed my foot around my plate as I'm mindedly doing lunch, and father clears his throat, and my heart skips a beat. I guess this morning is a returner from the Piccolo Mimi family. And I believe you know them. I gave an uncommitted reply and ducked my head to avoid his searching gaze. And the Piccolo Mimi family controls the business reports, and it is impossible to ignore the power of this rising new faction in Verona. Even my tutor, Miss Marino, despite being formally tight-lipped, has mentioned the Piccolo Mimi family growing influence. I'm sure father has an underlying reason to endlessly be talking about the Piccolo Mimi family's entrepreneurial achievements. The young master, who is an outstanding youth who managed to secure a major spice order from Egypt just last week. I knew it. He's no minor son of an insignificant family. There's no one in Venice who can surpass the Piccolo Mimi family eye for business. You're my beloved daughter, and I must find the best partner for you. I jerk my head up and hold my father's gaze fiercely. I understand your kind intentions, father, but I am thankful for how much you thought you put into this for me. But shouldn't I decide who my partner will be? It doesn't matter how well off they are. They are not what I want. I didn't choose them. Romy, I understand where you're coming from, child, and I hated listening to my parents when I was your age. But political marriages aren't always a bad thing, and you shouldn't be overcritical of them. Unless you already have someone in mind. Father fixes with me and a look of suspicion. I don't. You can rest easy. I wish you did. I wouldn't worry so much if you did. Father, he's alongside, and consecutive days of little rest follow, and while an endless series of lectures from my father leaves my head spinning. Romy. I raise my head in a daze, and father frowns. Are you alright? You don't look well. Should I call the doctor? Are you needing the doctor to get you a bloodletting? To get the leashes? Or an enema? That's what I was given to medieval people back then to balance their humors. It is just a headache, and should I tell father the truth, or should I take this opportunity to feign illness and escape? I should tell him the truth. I don't want father to worry. It's okay, just a minor headache. I guess I haven't been sleeping well. I see you should retire early and get some rest then. Thank you, father, I will. Over the few days, father repeatedly brings up my possible marriage to the Piccolo Mimi's heir, and his mind seems already made up. To this end, he arranges for me to attend a ball they're hosting over the weekend. But I've refused to give up my happiness for a stranger I never met, and just for the sake of allegiance between two powerful families. An idea surfaces in my mind as I toss and turn in the bed in the morning. I need to change tactics, and since I can't convince father to let me choose my own partner, I'll try to make him delay the matter for now. I heard from a maid yesterday that they're switching the servants in charge of the country villa. I should pretend to be sick and then move to the villa to recuperate, and I'll get out of this mess. I called the maid excitedly. You want to move to the villa? That's right, I intend to stay for a time to recuperate. Why, she's so terrified it feels like I mentioned something taboo. Sure enough, the maid scurries over and whispers in my ear, You mustn't go there. That villa is an ominous place. An ominous place? I searched my memories for anything regarding the villa, and it was built 300 years ago. The Montagues had cemented their power in Verona by the time, and the villa's members vacation at the villa every summer. But the villa is forgotten nowadays, and the only people there are the servants who is managing and maintaining it. Is there another reason why we've been avoiding the villa? Have you not heard? Servants sent there in recent years have all met with accidents. They encountered the ghost of the villa and were cursed. Some fell into a coma after developing a high fever, while others muttered gibberish. Sounds like asbestos. Maybe just say that the villa has asbestos? Or maybe lead pipes. Because all of that was common back in medieval time periods and stuff. Or maybe they're just a river with a lot of mosquitoes carrying cholera. Some even lost their memories. That sounds unlikely. It is the truth, and please don't take that risk, my lady. It would be terrible if anything were to happen to you. I had the misfortune of getting picked to look after the villa this year, and I couldn't stop crying about it. Don't worry, you'll be fine. After I consult the maid, she leaves, and then I calmly assess the pros and cons of going to the villa. It is not uncommon for deserted places to have a strange rumor or two about them. I am glad and courageous, so that I won't give up easily. This is the only option left to me. I have to try. Having made up my mind, I carry out my escape plan, and I pretend to be seriously ill, and I don't leave my bed, and I don't eat or drink anything for a few days in a row. My performance is so convincing that the doctor diagnoses me with heat stroke and recommends that I recuperate in a cool place. The sun rays in Verona this summer have been harsh, burning brighter than the vibrant rose in my windshield, and the universe must be conspiring with me. Father accepts to my request to recuperate at the villa, and before my departure, he inundates me with reminders about my safety. Don't wander on your own, Romy. And don't be so willful, okay? Call the servants if anything happens, and they'll always be ready to attend you. Don't worry, I'll behave myself. Father must be worried about the rumors surrounding the villa, too. The carriage has arrived, master. We can leave at any time. Okay, take care of Romy for me. The carriage takes me farther from the house with every passing moment, and I lift the curtain and watch excitedly as the scenery becomes unfamiliar. And I head to my destination, unaware of what I'm about to face. I finally arrive at the country villa, and there are no loud guests, and Father is in here talking of marriage, and I feel like a bird that has been let out of its cage. How lovely! I rub my tired eyes and look out of the window at the wide green expanse. After I settle in, I spend time reading by the window, and the sky is blue and the sun is shining and the fresh air smells clean. If only I could stay here forever. But I had to go back soon and listen to Father carry on about me getting married. Judging from my father's temperament, it is unlikely he'll give up on finding me a husband. A bird flies past the window and soars into the vast blue sky. This won't do. I can't sit around being disheartened. I mustn't waste the precious time I have left before I marry. It will be a shame to stay inside a beautiful day like this. I should find something fun to do. And I suddenly recall the terrifying rumor that the maid told me. And I thought the villa would be rather sinister, but it's no different from any other manor I stayed in. I plan to store with some hopeful and encountering some supernatural events while I'm here. But the servants always limit my activity to the first 2 floors, claiming it's what my father ordered. And the villa has 3 floors, and I wonder what secrets the 3rd floor holds. Per the maid's request, I returned to my bedroom after dinner, and though I promised my father I wouldn't wander the villa on my own, curiosity gets the better of me, and I can't resist the urge to sneak out to the 3rd floor, and before I set off, I changed into a stealthy outfit. I managed to sneak out to the 3rd floor without being noticed. Doesn't seem like there's anything strange here. The empty hallway is silent as the sun sinks below the horizon, and the afterglow illuminates the hall, causing the heavy drapes to cast long shadows on the wooden floor. It almost looks like a door that leads to another world. Something smells lovely. Is in my imagination? A familiar floral fragrance was in the air. It smells like roses. Why would there be roses on the 3rd floor? Intrigued, I looked for the roses in earnest. Roses, where could they be? The floor creaks as I wander the hallway, and suddenly I feel a gust of air behind me. What was that? I hear a slow creaking sound, and a door around the right corner that was once closed is now slightly ajar. Is there someone behind the door? Could it be a ghost? Something tells me I should leave, but curiosity compels me to crane my neck towards the door. It's dead silence, and I stare at the floor frozen in place, and it seems that the rumors about this villa went out unfounded. The open door feels like an invitation. What should I do? Here we go. If I leave now, I might regret missing out on the opportunity. Whatever's behind the door, be a friend or foe, I'm not going to turn down their invitation. I steady my nerves and approach the door. Cough, cough. Dust rains down on me, making me cough. After calming down, I begin looking around cautiously, and the room isn't as scary as I imagined it would be. Although the decor is a little old, and I can tell that the previous owner had exquisite taste. There's a large desk pile with books over there. Perhaps the owner likes reading just as much as I do. My anxiety begins about being in the room subsides, and I stare forward and wondering what books I find in the desk. What's this? I thought it was a notebook, but now I see that it's actually a diary, and judging by the look of its simple yet elegant leather cover, it belonged to a young man. The ink on the yellow parchment is slightly smudged, and only one initial remains on the cover page. The owner must have forgotten it when they left the villa. Then, could this diary be hundreds of years old? Thrilled by the discovery, I hurry and read the first page. The Azteks of Verona are as boring as ever in the summertime. Under the guise of taking a vacation, the influential families move elsewhere to continue their business. When I think of having entertainment then with a fake smile tonight, my cheeks start to feel so sore. Wow, the sentence speaks to my heart completely. My suitors wouldn't stop visiting me during my vacation, and I struggled to find out time alone. After grumbling to myself, I turned to another entry and continued reading. I can't believe what happened tonight. Up until the moment she looked at me, my life seemed meaningless, but all that changed when I met her gaze. This feels like a dream. Can I win her over, or will she disappear? The writing stops abruptly, and my breath catches the cling to the diary. Up until the moment she looked at me, my life seemed meaningless, and I kept repeating this sentence in my head. Is this what they call love at first sight? Lady Romy, where are you? Oh no, the maid must have noticed I was gone. I stuffed the diary under my clothes and hurried to leave the room. I slip out of the room before the maid finds me and made my way back to the second floor. When the maid finds me in my room, she says my disappearance gave her a fright, and I promise her to stop wandering alone and invite her to join me on a walk. We chat along the way, passing by the garden that filled the air with floral scent, and suddenly I stuck in my tracks. What's wrong, Lady Ronnie? The garden. How did there come to be so many red roses here? The maid hesitates for a moment and then lowers her voice. I don't know much about the roses, only that they've been here for many years. That explains why I smelled roses when I was in the third floor. Then again, the garden is some distance away, and I never smelled roses anywhere else in the villa before. What's going on? Everyone says the red roses are cursed. And it's like in the Mommy 2 where the guy was like, this is cursed and that is cursed. Cursed? Yes, don't you see there a frightful shade of red, almost like fresh blood? The wind blows and the eerie red roses sway in the breeze, and the maid subconsciously inches closer to me. I can't help but shiver all over. Are the cursed roses related to the ghost you mentioned before? Yes, roses were his favorite flower, and whenever a rose withers, something bad happens. That's why the roses are well tended, and even though the villa is normally empty, Lord Montague asked the servants to take care of them. Father, and he knows about the ghost too? Yes, he does. I believe the ghost was a Montague. And wasn't the ghost who made me smell roses in the third floor? The diary that I thought did it belong to him. The maid sees my furrowed brow and seems to panic. Forgive me, I'm speaking nonsense. The ghost couldn't possibly belong to a respectable Montague family. Lady Romy, please forget what I said, and I'm merely repeating what I heard the others say. It's alright, don't worry. I won't tell my father about this. The maid quickly changes the subject and guides me out of the garden. By nightfall, I have many unanswered questions, and I flip open the diary once again. The diary describes how the owner made excuses to avoid a dance he was supposed to attend. While wandering the manor alone, however, he met a young woman. They fell in love with each other at first sight, and on the night he stood under her balcony while holding a large bouquet of red roses, and he expressed his love to her under the moonlight. What a dreamy story, and in an ideal romance, the two people drawn to each other, professing their feelings amid the scent of roses. No wonder he prefers red roses, it is a symbol of their love. But if the ghost is the owner of the diary, did he ever end up with his beloved, and what could make him happen? What could have happened to him to make him turn into a vengeful ghost? Alas, the diary entry stopped abruptly, and the rest of the pages have been torn out, leaving only a rough edges. What's even more puzzling is that he never wrote down his lover's name. What could be the reason for that? I eventually closed the diary and found a sentence written inside the back cover. As long as you're holding me in your tender gaze, they can never hurt me. Although I still had no idea how this story ended, at the moment I understand how he felt. I spent the evening worrying about the writer of the diary and what happened to him and his beloved. Did he really become a ghost that haunts the villa? I still lay awake up, utterly refreshed after a good night's sleep. It's raining. The pitter-patter sound soothes me, and I open the windows, and earthly smell of rain engulfs me. The tiny droplets pelt the stonework restlessly as if trying to wash their history away. A thought occurs to me, and I spring out of the bed and rush to the drawer. Phew, the diary's still here. The story I read last night wasn't a dream. A maid knocks on my door, bringing me breakfast. Good morning, Lady Ronnie. Did you sleep well last night? Rather well. In fact, I don't even know when the rain started. A huge thunderclap woke me up last night, and you must have slept through that. Verona's August are usually hot and dry, and this thunderstorm came so suddenly and swiftly that it seems unnatural. We chat a little about the unusual hot weather we're having this year before she grows worried about me again. Please don't go anywhere alone, Lady Ronnie, and we were worried sick when you couldn't find you yesterday. I'm sorry to worry everyone, and I won't do it again. Of course, we're not blaming you, my lady, but Lord Montague ordered us to take good care of you. You're here to rest and recuperate, and it would be terrible if anything else were to go wrong. I give her my word I won't wander off, and she seems reassured. I keep troubling everyone around me, now I'm lying to her. Despite what I said, I made up my mind last night to go upstairs for a closer look, and I want to find the rest of the diary. The unfinished diary left off on the cliffhanger, and I can't stop thinking about it. I hope to discover a happy ending. Unfortunately, no matter how hard I try, I can't open the door to the room where I found the diary. And I tried the other rooms on the third floor, but I can't even turn the knobs, and they seem to have rusted in place. Out of options, I returned to my room where a surprise visitor is waiting for me. My dear friend Bellona is there. It's getting a little chilly after the rain, and Bellona's instinct I changed into something warm first. After changing, I bring her to the parlor for refreshments. I'm so glad you're here. I've been cooped up in my room all day with hardly anyone else to talk to. I knew you were bored to death, and I just found out you were recuperating here, so I asked Lord Montague if I could visit. Bellona winks at me before placing a basket on the table, and she uncovers it. Your mother's meat pies come and have some while they're still warm. Mother's meat pies, I can't thank you enough for this. No pastry can compare to Mother's meat pies, and I stuff a huge piece into my mouth at once. And Bellona beams at me, and we spend a lovely afternoon chatting. You have to tell me the truth, Ronnie. Why are you here at the villa? I was rather worried about you, but you seem fine. What exactly do you have planned? Bellona takes a chance to interrogate me while the maids are nearby, and I tell her everything. Bellona is shocked to hear her father is maneuvering me into a marriage with the Piccolo Mimi family. To be fair, their son has been taking Verona by the storm recently, and have you heard? He's regular at the balls and salons, and many noble ladies are charmed by him. Noble ladies or their scheming parents. Bellona and I burst into laughter, and we both know how families and their vested interests are in play. I didn't think your father would get caught up in trying to marry you off. Neither did I, but I know that as soon as I go home, my father will force me to meet this young man. Just thinking about it makes me anxious, and Bellona and I lapse into silence. Enough of this, and what have you been up to lately? I heard rumors about this place. Bellona lowers her voice, glancing at me, and my hands tremble slightly as I put down my cup. Romy, you. I trust Bellona with my life, and I believe she won't tell anyone else about the ghost. She knows a lot of things, and maybe she can even tell me who the ghost is. I decided to tell Bellona everything, and I expect her to be surprised and perhaps shocked, but Bellona looks positively stricken, and her face is ashen. Are you okay? Bellona clutches my hand, and her eyes widen with fear. You're in deep trouble, Romy. If I'm right, the diary you found belonged to Romeo Montague. 200 years ago, he and Juliet Capulet fell in love, and they died for each other. What? I suddenly recall something Miss Marina once said to me. Lord Montague tells me you're very resistant to arranged marriages, Lady Romy. Even Miss Marino knows. Miss Marino sighs. You're still young, but even you must know you can't have your way with everything. Love and marriage do not sit well with hasty decisions, and be careful or you might live to regret your decision. I recall Miss Marina muttering the tragedy from 200 years ago cannot repeat itself. Is this what she meant? The diary painted with such a sweet portrait of love and affection. What happened? Do you know what happened? Better than us, look in pain. One summer, 200 years ago, Romeo Montague and Juliet Capulet fell in love. They pledged themselves to each other. It is just as the diary describes, they were very much in love. But the Montagues and Capulets were constantly at odds, and you know this very well. The feud wasn't as fierce as it is now, but there were regular scuffles. Lord Capulet was furious when he learned of the secret marriage, and he immediately betrothed his daughter to a powerful count. How could he? Isn't it hard enough for us to go against our parents' wishes now, and how difficult would it have been 200 years ago? Their many protests fell on deaf ears, and despite the lovers chose to elope, but they were found out, and soon afterwards they both killed themselves. I'm saddened beyond words, and we sit in silence for a bit, listening to the rain pelt the windows restlessly. That explains the diary's abrupt conclusion. Well, that's your recap of the original Romeo and Juliet. In the short version. That's why he never mentioned his lover's name. He must have been terrified of any repercussions. This tragedy aggravated the feud between the Montagues and Capulets. The violence that plagued Verona for centuries stemmed from this. Bellona nods gravely. They say Romeo was barely breathing when they found him, and he was in agony as he uttered his last words. What did he say? At this point, it's anyone's guess. They say Romeo died in vain, so he returned as a vengeful spirit, and he haunts this very villa. If anyone so much as touches an item he cursed, they're stricken with a sudden illness. It's a little wonder this villa is abandoned, and everyone's frightened to even speak of it. The rose gun that he haunts must mean a lot to him. And the diary I found. We must burn the diary right now, Romy. It's more dangerous than you realize. Fire cleanses all evil. Please, it is the only way. Bellona takes my hand and squeezes it tightly. Every word Romeo penned brings with love and hope. If I burn this, nothing else will serve as a testimony to the beautiful love they once shared. He might be a vengeful spirit, but surely he wouldn't curse his own diary. Don't be silly, Ronnie. Who knows what spirits do? I understand why you're reluctant, but I can't have you putting yourself at risk. If anything untoward occurs, Bellona's evident worry sways me. Bellona has a point, and his vengeful spirit is no longer the old Romeo of old. It is safer if I just burn the diary. I'll do as you say. We sneak out of the villa to avoid the servants and avoid the deserted part of the grounds. The rain stops, but a chilly wind whistles through the woods, and I look at the trail of muddy footprints we left behind. Bellona shields the candlestick she's carrying, keeping the flame alive. Here's the diary. I take the diary out of my bag and place it on the ground, and I'm strangely reluctant to part with it. Stand over here and keep the wind from putting the fire out, Ronnie. I'm ready. If anything happens, we'll make a run for it. Anna stands beside Bellona and she cautiously approaches the diary with a candle. We watch as the flame dances, glittering on the diary's leather cover, and it doesn't engulf the rest of the book. What's going on? The fire doesn't harm the diary in the slightest, but how? I stare at the diary in disbelief. Could Romeo Montague's ghost be protecting it? Hold this candle, Romy, and I want to see if the pages will catch fire. You shouldn't handle the diary in case it is cursed. I already touched it, so let me do it. I take a deep breath and kneeling next to it. Gingerly I flip the diary open and my fingers have barely grazed the pages when there's a deafening clap of thunder. It's raining again. Bellona and I can only watch as a fat heavy raindrop douses the candle's flickering flame. I don't think we'll be able to burn anything today, Ronnie. We'll have to think of something else. Is it a coincidence or is there something larger at play? Bellona and I hurriedly bury the diary and we scatter some leaves and twigs over it before we leave. When we arrive back at the villa, Bellona scares she's waiting for it and reluctantly part ways. She reminds me to look after myself and promises to visit soon. Preoccupied with the story of Romeo and Juliet, I don't have much appetite for dinner. Are you alright, Lady Romy? Is the dinner not to your liking? Not at all. I don't have much of an appetite because of the weather. By the way, can I ask you something? Of course, my lady. I'm curious about the rooms on the third floor. What are they for? I'm afraid I don't know, my lady. Those rooms have been sealed for a very long time. No one is allowed there without Lord Montague's permission. I see, thank you. If the other rooms are sealed, why did that door open for me? Is Romeo's spirit leading me somewhere, or what does he want? As the flash of lightning splits the night sky asunder and the main shutters, but all I see is my ashen face reflected in the window. Where am I? A ghastly voice echoes around me in the darkness. You, descendant of the Montagues, an ignorant intruder. I'll show you. My pain, hatred, and resentment of the last 200 years. I toss and turn in my sleep, and the sound of the heavy footsteps wakes me from my troubled slumber. Where am I? Isn't this the church in the city? I'm still in a dream. I stare at the century stained glass window in a daze. The sound of footsteps draws nearer, and I instantly drop behind a bench. Who's coming? I peek over the bench just enough to get a clear view or without being seen. Suddenly the door opens and a young lady enters, and she lowers her hood, revealing golden locks that cascade down around her shoulders, and the sealed gown beneath her cloak haze attests to her nobility. Is she Julius Capulet who lived 200 centuries ago? If so, am I Romeo's memories now? Julia's anxious glances suggest that she is waiting for an important person. Just as I begin to feel anxious as she appears, a young man hurries into the church. I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, my love. He rushes to her, panting, and her anxiousness transforms into joy, and she smiles as she shakes her head. The Montague crest embroidered on his clothing must be Romeo. A clock shines echo throughout the church, and it's at midnight, and the lovers clasp hands as they share words of affection. Tears well up in my eyes, and the lovers are utterly unaware of what tragedy awaits them. I was almost caught when I snuck out today, and thank goodness for the maid who covered for me. Julia grins playfully, but Romeo frowns. Did you climb over the wall again? What if you hurt yourself? Don't worry, I gotten very good at it. Do you remember when we first met? How could I possibly forget? You popped out from behind the dimly lit wall and stole my heart. I still remember the velvet dress you wore. You looked like an angel. I recall the entry in the diary, and Romeo fell in love with her the moment that he met her gaze. And Romeo signs happening, and he turns somber once more. I don't want you putting yourself in danger or getting hurt just to see me. I am tired of living in fear, my love. I want to meet your family. Uh, It's time to tell them the truth, and I want you to be my wife so I can take care of you for the rest of our lives. Romeo said the meditation rings loud and clear, but Julia's head droops. I think we still need to give it time. You know, my father, he's always very obstinate, and our family had never gotten along. I'm not afraid of your father. He can try to discourage me, but I won't waver. I'll do whatever he asks of me if it means that I can have your hand in marriage. I know you'll do anything for us to get together, but I am grateful, but Romeo is noticeably dismayed by the hesitation in Julia's voice. She seems to be in a predicament. You're always making excuses about when I mention marriage, and I can't help but think that you're hiding something from me. Or perhaps you're unwilling to marry me. No, that's not it. The whispers are nonsense and have turned into pointless bickering, and finally Romeo leaves unhappily and in a hurry. They love each other, and yet they hurt each other too. Julia's sobs echo throughout the empty church, and I want to comfort her, but I find myself unable to move. A wave of drowsiness overtakes me, and I close my eyes and feel my body to grow lighter. What happened to me? Where am I now? The darkness disorients me, but after regaining my composure, I discover that I'm standing in a misty forest. It is another one of Romeo's memories. The cold damp air makes me shiver, and suddenly I hear a long sigh coming from behind me. I turn to see Romeo standing near a tree, and he looks like full of woe, mumbling to himself. I shouldn't have doubted her that day. Why did I speak so harshly? She must be heartbroken after hearing my hurtful words, and if she breaks it off with me, it will be the punishment I deserve for the way I behaved. He's referring to the quarrel at the church, and Juliet was inconsolable after his departure. Romeo appears to grow more anxious, and he starts pacing under the tree, and the dry leaves churn under his feet as the seconds tick by. It looks like he's on the edge of despair when the person he's been waiting for finally arrives. Sorry to keep you waiting. Romeo turns around, not believing his eyes, and his beloved is smiling at him, and he rushes forward and embraces her as if he hasn't seen her in years. I thought you weren't coming. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said those hurtful words before. I don't need any promise of marriage or even approval from others. I only want to be with you. Just to have you in my life will be enough. Romeo's voice trembles as he speaks of his remorse. If I ever have any unfounded suspicions of you, then I may fall into the pits of the hell. Please give me another chance, don't leave me. A sliver of clouds leaps through the clouds, and a chill wind blows. An anguish colors Julia's face, and she buries her face in her hands and sobs. Romeo gently places his hand over her shoulder and speaks in a soft voice. Can you tell me what happened, my love? I'm sorry, I was hiding something from you. Some time ago, my father found out I was secretly meeting you, and he insisted that I cut you off. I didn't want to, of course, but he arranged for me to marry Count Paris. I don't want to marry him. What am I going to do? Their situation is hopeless. The wind picks up, howling as it rustles the leaves. My love, will you run away with me? Romeo watches Juliet nervous, and under the pale moon she smiles. Of course. I can bear to keep there listening because I know that their story is destined to end in tragedy. I just hope that they appreciate the time they have together now, and I'm overcome with another wave of drowsiness. Think it's all of the asbestos that's giving her this weird dream. When I wake up, I find myself in the ground, and a storm is raging overhead, pelting me with heavy drops of rain. Ugh. A hollow sorrow pierces in the air, and I struggle to keep my feet and look around, and I stop Romeo on his knees, keeping in the rain. My heart tightens if something happened to Julia, and I walk closer to him, moving slowly through the mud and rain. There's something beside him. It's the diary. And Romeo reaches for the diary, and he flips it open, restlessly tears out its pages, and he tosses the pages to the ground where they soak in the muddy water. Why? Why? What could have happened? We promised to live together, but you went back on your word. You were right. Our love is destined to be doomed. Everything you wrote in your letter was true. But you're the one I love. Letter. Why did Julia fail to keep their promise? Romeo tosses the diary aside and reaches for something red. That's a red rose. Romeo holds a wilted rose in his hand, and he hisses when a thorn pierces his skin. I want to comfort him, but I'm not sure how to approach him. After all, we don't know each other. His tear-filled eyes flicker with rage and sorrow. Why? Why? He reads the petals from the rose and tosses them into the wind. Like the real person that caused a tragedy was the priest who gave Juliet a potion that made her appear dead in order to like facilitate, like to help her fake her death. But he didn't get a chance to tell Romeo that what he had done. So then that led to what we are familiar with in Romeo and Juliet, because he thinks he's dead, but she's not really dead. So then like he kills himself, and then she wakes up, and then she sees that he's really really dead, and then they end at all quite Shakespearean fashion. Why did you lie to me? Why did you betray me? The crushed petals scatter in the wind and fall to the ground. Thunder moves overhead and my vision begins to blur as the torrents of the rain falls. Yeah, like if they want to run away with each other, she should have just done it right then and there. Take whatever jewelry that Julie had like stashed in her bedroom, and instead of like coming out with a weird contrived escape plan. Cause like, that's how you do it when you're running away with someone. You just do it right then and there, and cause the more you overthink it, the more chances you have for things to like go wrong. But then again, people don't have to like run away with each other anymore, cause this is a modern day and people can marry whoever the hell they feel like. Before long, I can't see anything.